igcse Computer Science Paper 2, Section B. This is the Winter 2019 question paper 22. Let's begin. So this algorithm is written in pseudocode to select a random number using the function randint, and n in the brackets. So which returns a whole number and between 1 and the argument n. So like here between 1 and 100, n and 100. The algorithm then allows the user to guess the number, and so here it shows number of guesses, and it shows the number of guesses at the end, the total tries. So let's find some mistakes. Here it has 4 errors. Okay, so error number 1. So after a number is guessed and input, this is wrong. This should have been if guess is more than number. That's one mistake. The second mistake is if guess is more than number, then print too small. No, it's supposed to be. So yeah, this is one mistake. If guess, it's supposed to be if guess is less than number, then we would print. The computer would print too small. The other mistake is total try equals to total guess plus 1. It is supposed to be total try is equals to total try plus 1. Third mistake. And the last mistake is until guess equals to number. This is another mistake. So yeah, and the reason why they put this is because initially total tries was 1, and so in the end, if they didn't put this, then it would give the wrong number of total tries. There would be an extra 1, so that's why in the end they just remove 1, -1. So this is the mark scheme. Yeah, so we're correct. Next question. 3a. The following flow chart is basically it. There's a batch of 10 ropes, and it accepts if the batch's length is 90% correct. So like correct means between 24.9 and 25.1. So in the beginning, reject is 0, count is 0. Then it checks if count equals to 0, of course, and equals to 10. Of course, in the beginning it's equal to 0. So no input and length. Compare it, check if it's accepted. If it's not, then increase reject by 1, and then increase count by 1. Else, if it's correct, just directly increase count by 1 and then do this again until count equals to 10. When count does equal to 10, it goes to is reject less than or equal to 1. If no, then it prints that the batch is rejected. If yes, it is less than 1, the amount of rejects, or it is exactly equal to 1, then it prints out output batch accepted. So this is the trace table, and let's see the answer. So look, in the beginning it was 0, reject and count, and when the first length was put in, count increased by 1 but reject didn't increase. I mean, sorry, reject was 0 and count was 1, but then reject increased by 1 because this was wrong. And then 25.01 is not rejected, so reject stays 1 and the count is 2. So next one, 24.98, you can see the pattern. uh, the count increase but reject is the same. And just skip to the end. So here 25.19, it's more than 25.1, so another reject. So two rejects, and basically the last one, 25.07, count is 10, and in the end it outputs batch rejected because 80% were rejected. And that is the answer for this. So next question, next part of the question. To change this, to only reject batches of rope that contain ropes that are too short. So to increase, if the length is higher, just ignore the length if it's really long, but um, reject it if it's short. So change the algorithm. So here we removed length is less than 25.1, so it will not look at if it's sorry, if 25.1 is. So what this does is it removes this, and if the length is more than 25.1, it will still be accepted. So that's just the answer. If it is more than 25.1, then it's okay. Next part of the question, explain how the algorithm to reject batches could be improved to make it more effective. So how to make it more effective at rejecting batches. So here let's look. Here it says until count equals 10. We could remove it and just say like as soon as number of rejects is equals to 2. Look at the marking scheme. Yeah, so check the reject counter after each incrementation. Remove reject check after 10. So just check it after each incrementation and remove this checking removing reject check after counter equals 10. As soon as reject equals to 2 or is more than 1, so it equals to yes. So these are 2 points, and it just said 2, but another one is reject batch and end. So reject it when it's 2 or more than 1, same thing, and without it continuing to reaching the counter equals to 10. Okay. Oh yeah, and also remove reject check means like checking how many rejects are there after counter equals 10. So yeah, this question says match each of them. So range check is obviously these are validation checks. So range check, what does it match? It matches this, checks that the value entered is between an upper and a lower value, so it's within a range. Okay, and the presence check, let's see, checks that some data is entered, checks that anything like some data, actual data has been entered, it's not blank, so this. And length check is checks for a minimum number of characters in the data entered. So the length of the characters, it checks basically the length. It's kind of, a range is a value is between two values, but length is a characters in the data entered. Maximum, oh sorry, checks for a maximum number of characters in the data entered. Type check is checks that the characters entered are all numbers. So it checks the type. Okay. And next question. A programmer writes a program to weigh baskets of fruits and crabs. So what this question is keeping a total of the weight. The total weight is stored in a variable total, and the number of baskets is in the variable basket count. So how can we, what do we write for that, for those, and how could totaling and counting be used? So totaling, adding the weight of each basket to the total weight as each weight is entered. So it adds the weight to the total and it makes that total a new total. The counting, every time a new basket comes, it increments the basket count by one. Every time it comes a new basket, first it's 1 and then 2 and then 3. Explain why constants, variables, and arrays are used in programming. So constants cannot be changed accidentally during the execution of the program. So value only needs to be changed once if circumstances change during the initialization process. Variables store a value that can change, and it can change during the execution, and can use a variable without knowing its value. So it can still use it if it doesn't know its value of the variable. The array, a list of items of the same data type. So the type of data of those can be stored in an array. Stored under a single name to reduce the number of variables used. Any item can be found using an index number to show its place in the list. So index number is the number that shows the position, and you can find the item inside the array using that number position. And it helps to reduce the number of variables used. So it's just in one list of items. And this database question table sales is it keeps a record of items made and sold by a furniture maker. Why the item number cannot be used as a primary key? Let's see. Because the item number is repeated and is not unique. As it says here, number is repeated and not unique. Okay. And let's see, last question, guys. This query by example is done and shows only the order number, so the order number and the item number of any items in progress or not started. So status is should be progress or not started. Let's see why this is wrong. Firstly, it should show this and this, so a tick here and a tick here. This is not necessary. Amount, sales, and it should be removed. And for this is wrong because criteria is like in progress or like not started. So let's see. Yeah, so this should be ticked, and status should be like not started or like in progress. Item number not displayed, amount column not required. Yeah, so this was not necessary, and not like delivered. Well, also show cancelled items. Yeah, so cancelled items also included in not like delivered. Okay, thank you.